We're almost halfway through the year, and a lot of people are running on empty without fully realizing it. Grow Therapy helps you find care that's covered by insurance before burnout becomes the baseline. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, Grow makes it easier to find a therapist who fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of independent licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions, nights and weekends. You can search by what matters, like insurance, specialty, identity, or availability, and get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost. There are no subscriptions, no long-term commitments. You just pay per session. Grow helps you find therapy on your time. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, including Medicaid in some states. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/booknow to get started. That's growtherapy.com/booknow. growtherapy.com/booknow. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
Hey there, and welcome to the Think Fitness Life podcast. We're fueled by the incredible clients who inspire us every day, allowing us to elevate their health and fitness journeys. On this show, you'll gain valuable insights from top professionals, hear inspiring transformation stories, and discover the knowledge and motivation to create your own best life. Let's dive in. As someone who has continuously used therapy as a way to heal and elevate my personal performance, I know wholeheartedly that you cannot always read the label when you're in the jar. And that's why it's so helpful to have a professional in your corner to talk to. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp to provide our listeners with the opportunity to work with a licensed therapist from the comfort of your own home. Receive 10% off your first month when you sign up by going to betterhelp.com/TFL. That's betterhelp.com/T as in think, F as in fitness, L as in life. And remember, you're not alone. There are people out there who can help.
Welcome back to the Think Fitness Life podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to dive into what I've learned throughout my career and some insight throughout the years on training, rehabilitation, and coming back from injury. I was talking to a fellow coach and future physical therapist the other day, and the conversation came up about how I approach things from a injury standpoint lens, how I would change things I did in the past, and how I would change things in the future to get better results. And it sparked a lot of conversation from different individuals. Now, as a disclaimer, I am not a physical therapist. I do not have a DPT, but through the lens of PRI and being a strength coach, I have blended that realm of being a clinician and helping people come back from pain from dysfunctional patterns or compensatory patterns. And what I've also seen going to PT and working alongside with PTs and talking to other PTs, this episode is going to go into reflections of the past and how I would change them. It really starts with just getting a base of knowledge at first. For anyone out there listening, whether you're a coach or you're a listener that listens to get feedback on health and nutrition, or is just looking to better optimize your overall health, my biggest thing is just taking in more information and learning. And nowadays, there's much. You can open your phone, open an app called Instagram. If you haven't heard of it, you're probably under a rock. But big social media app, you're going to see hundreds of exercise recommendations, reels on what's good, what's not good, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, which is a way people are finding out about information nowadays. Now, I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but sometimes it gets too one-way focused or one-minded focused, and people believe, oh, I can only do this and I can only do that and I can't blend things. And I've understood that from the lens of PRI. When I went through PRI, you look at and you put that hat on and say, okay, this is what we're going to look at. This is how we're going to do. But I've also seen that other clinicians take a lens that they've learned about and they go all in on that. And that's all that they do, which is fine. If that works for someone, it is absolutely fine. What I've found throughout the years in my own model is you have to integrate it. The one big thing for me was I came out of college and I'm very big into strength and conditioning. Then I got my lens of PRI. And at times I do separate that. I am a PRI clinician because clients are requesting for PRI, and other times I'm a strength coach. But when you meet in the middle and you are applying it to training, what I found works best for me is having a little bit of both, understanding the lens of PRI and then understanding the lens of sport performance, human performance, strength and conditioning. And you can do both. It's not one silo or the other. I've talked to other clinicians and trainers that they get into, oh, it's this way or the other, or no way at all. I've always came and looked at it as you have to be able to integrate it. And how does it fit in your model? And if something doesn't fit in your model, that's okay. Getting back to the realm of seeing something on Instagram saying this is the way it should be done or has to be done, take that, learn from it. But now go and do a little bit more reading from that post. The post is there to get your attention and to like something, and then to further drive into a different thought or to get you to do that exercise. And I'm one that there's no such thing as a bad exercise. I've seen some interesting exercises that I personally wouldn't do, or some exercises that I don't understand the adaptation. But if it worked for that person or that athlete, I'm okay with it. I would obviously like to know explanation, but you're never going to get that. As individuals, we go looking for what is the best that we can do. And that's where reading comes in, talking to a coach, listening to a podcast such as this comes into play, because you're getting to understand and peel back the layers of concepts that you might not get or someone's not going to explain on a social media post. And I totally get that. Learning to have more knowledge and reading, that's one big thing that I've always done in the past, is reading and reading different coaches' models, different clinicians' models, different people's thoughts and opinions. And then I create my own model, which is, I tell people it's heavily postural restoration based, but also heavily strength and conditioning. If you are, I will blend PRI, but then also I'm big into Olympic lifting. A lot of my athletes are doing a lot of Olympic lifting stuff, blending in PRI, blending in plyos, blending in everything I've learned to make them the best overall. And for your general pop person, you're looking for optimizing overall health, adding conditioning, strength training, mobilization, alternation, some PRI work, making sure the body feels good and balanced. That's what it's about. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is, does the exercise or training create an adaptation and create a change? And does the person like it? If yes, then keep it. If it keeps the body healthy and it keeps the body out of pain, even better. If you see something online and you perform it and you find that my body didn't respond well to it, I got injured from it, or I created tightness or tension from it, it might not be that it's a bad exercise. It could just be that coach was coaching it a certain way to get a certain outcome, or it could just be not an exercise for you. It all kind of depends on how your body responds to certain exercises. Everyone's body can do exercises if put in the right position. But as you go, it's a learning process. Always learning as we go. And that's one of the biggest things I've taken as a coach throughout the years, because if you stop learning, you get left behind in this field. And it goes this, and for me, it's the same in the health industry. if you kind of stick with one view or you go by the old research and you don't if you don't follow with the new research, you can get left behind in older thinking and older thought. And as the science change and new research comes out, there's more and more going on. And that's the beauty of this field. There's just more and more coming out, and we find out more. Books that I've read that are 20 plus years, there might be different research coming out now than there was in those books. Not to say that that information data is not valid from the old research, but you get new insight to new research. As I was talking with my other coach and future PT, we were talking about the model of physical therapy in rehab from injury, along with programming and everything else. And what my stance is and what I've learned, I hope this helps a lot of people who may be going through PT or going through injuries get a little bit more of an advantage, a little more adaptation, and push the needle a little bit more to pain-free living. And I've had this internal battle, and I don't really say it much because I don't want to piss a lot of people off, but the model of physical therapy, I believe, in my opinion, needs to change. And here's why. The model really looks at, for most people, now this isn't everyone. I know there's a lot of PTs that do this model, and it's changing, which is great. But the standard model that I hear with the PTs I work with, or the athletes that I train as they're going through PT, I go to PT once or twice a week, and that's it. Mainly it's once a week. They come in, they warm up, they do their exercises, maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, and then they're done. And that's physical therapy. Okay. The expectation when people are injured and they go to the doctor and they go into physical therapy is they're thinking, okay, this physical therapist is going to get me pain-free, which is the right way to think. And I totally agree with that. When I went to PT, I said the same thing. I'm going to physical therapy. They know how to fix me. Throughout the years, as I've talked to clients and seen people go through physical therapy, there's not enough frequency of physical therapy. Once a week is not going to cut it. And people out there listening, if you are in the once a week, it needs to increase. The model needs to be pushed more. Honestly, this is going to sound crazy, to 3 to 4 times a week to actually get adaptation and change through the human body. I always compare it to learning math. Someone says, well, how come? Well, if I do it once a week and I do this exercise once a week for, let's say, a total of 40 reps, let's say 4 sets of 10. The expectation that people are coming away with saying, well, I did those 40 reps, that should strengthen whatever muscle I'm trying to strengthen, and that should get me out of pain. But that's wrong. The body and the brain and the system does not learn like that. You need more frequency as we go. Going back to when you learned math when you were younger. You didn't learn math on Monday and then waited till next Monday to do math again. No. When a young kid, I remember doing math every single day in elementary school, every single day in middle school, every single day in high school. Then you get to college where it's, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But you're doing it multiple times a week. Tuesday, Thursday classes in college, they were longer. Same as the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same duration, multiple times a week. The brain and the body is even more extreme of learning like that. When it coming to muscle, tension, length, position, pattern, and pull, we need to be doing stuff every single day. Now, no doubt that physical therapists give homework out. I see it all the time. I see it every day with the PTs that I work with. They're giving people their homework. Now, the question is, are the people actually doing their homework correctly? Most of the time, I'm going to take the doubting road of no. I was that young kid that would go home and be like, oh, well, I did my PT. I don't need to use these exercises. I also think these exercises are stupid. I'm going to get about that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on in the podcast. But I didn't want to do them. And then I'd go back to PT and I would do the exercises. They were very low grade. They were simple exercises. And I was saying, okay, I get it, but I'm not really understanding it. Now, this is also me as a younger kid with more of ego, because I went to the gym and I would lift weights and I'd be like, oh, I got this. I know how to strengthen my quads. I know how to strengthen my core and all that. And then I would go to PT and they'd have me on a machine and I'd be doing, let's say, 30 pounds for 20 reps. And to me, that wasn't enough. I was sitting there like, well, this is dumb, because on this machine at the gym, I could put 100 pounds on and do 10 reps. During this conversation, I start to kind of, or throughout my years, I've started to thought about the model even more. And we get a lot of athletes coming in, ACL return to play. They've gone through PT or they're currently finishing up PT, but then they start coming into the realm of, we're going to train back to sport or back to regular activity. Here's where we start to put it all together and get them going. And what we see is some athletes are amazing. Some athletes, they've gone to PT, they've done their homework, and they are crushing it. Other athletes, it is like, have you even gone to PT? What have you been doing? And it's hard to ask that question because I'm not here. I don't want to discredit any PTs, but like any other trainer or strength coach out there, there's good PTs and there's not good PTs. And it also comes back to the model of physical therapy as they get taught in school of how we're going to treat. Okay, we're going to go in, we're going to put some stim, some ice, some heat on, we might massage, and we're going to spend 10, 15 minutes strengthening. You might see the PT for 10 minutes, but you're going to see a PT aid. Yeah, that's not a good model. And the interns that come through that work for us that are going to go to PTs, I tell them every single time, this is what we need to change. This is what the next generation of PTs are going to change when the model comes up. Because that model is 10 to 30 minutes of, or 10, 20, 30 minutes of strength training. That's good. But what is the adaptation? The other stuff, I understand. We're trying to get someone out of pain and feel good, take tension off the muscle. But how I've looked at it in treating people when they come for PRI is they're in pain now. How do we get them out of pain and change their perception of pain and change their body? I understand there's modalities like foam rolling and e-stim and all that, which works. But is it healing or is it taking pain away temporarily? And what I've come to find out is, okay, if that's a temporary Band-Aid, that's good, but then that person still gets back in pain. And that was my journey from PT on, and that's how I got into PRI in the first place, is I need a solution. I need something more than to rely on a machine or a foam roller or something else. I said there has to be another answer. Landed through PRI, understanding the body works through tension and compression. The body gets stuck in positions and we can create pain by over compressing or under compressing certain areas of the body. And that creates chronic pain. Now, if it's a acute injury, that's something different, but we still want to look at it the same lens. How do I give someone who might not have these apparatuses strengthen themselves and be able to keep that strength and keep that posture as they go through and prepare to go back to their sport or go back to their regular days of work without pain-free? And that's teaching the brain and the body how to turn on and be strong subconsciously. When we're doing light banded activities or reps of activities for 20 minutes once a week, thinking in PT we're going to be pain-free, to me that doesn't sit well. The model needs to change. And if people are out there listening in PT now, ask your PT, hey, can I come 3 to 4 times a week? You're going to go through your PT sessions a lot quicker. That's okay. I'd rather have someone come in for 2 to 3 weeks, 4 times a week, than come for 10 weeks once a week. Because the more frequency that they get I know that their brain can learn an adaptation and get better and better. And that's what I do. That's what we do in PRI. When someone comes in, I see them. The biggest thing that they have to do is when I give them the techniques to go home with, they have to repeat that every single day. We can start mapping the brain to understand that I'm creating a change. The same goes from when we're rehabbing an injury, getting strong. The same also goes when I'm training athletes or training people to get stronger or to push an adaptation. I'm not going to do one exercise on Monday and then wait 1 week to do it again. That's too long of a time in between stimulus for the body to A, learn, or B, create an adaptation. And I made this mistake lifting when I was younger. I wanted to get big. What did I do? Let me get on a bodybuilding split. Now, my coaches had given me a athlete training split, but I thought I was better. I thought I was, I found this bodybuilding split in a program and in a magazine, and this person looked really big, and if Arnold did it, he got big. Why can't I do it? I did a bunch of volume on Monday for chest, and I wouldn't do chest again until the next Monday. And I did this for maybe 3 or 4 years. I made progress, but was it progress? Was it as quick as I wanted? No, it took me longer to add weight on a bar to get an overall strength adaptation than I wanted to. The periodization took forever. And then once I would get into the strength realm, I'd come back. I was wasting time. And I look back now and say, damn, I wasted that much time. I could have been stronger in XYZ. This is where now coaching younger athletes, when I know if their goals are, hey, I need to get strong or I want to get strong as this, I am not doing what I did in the past. I am not wasting some of my time in higher volume to get them to where they want to be. And that's where the model of periodization to me changes. Read in the old textbooks, like we mentioned earlier, 20, 30 years ago, you go into a volume phase, then strength phase, then power phase. It takes time. And you start losing adaptations if you don't train stuff. Why would I not train it as frequent and I lose adaptations? Once I learned and started training more frequent, going, I can do bench 3-4 times a week. I can squat 3-4 times a week with different variations of intensity, and you create quicker adaptations. I said, I missed the bucket. And I learned. That's another thing you've learned over the years. The more frequency you get, the more adaptation you're going to create. Now, here's a caveat. If you can recover and be able to perform sessions day over day, it's going to change in ebb and flow, but you see better results. Now, books are coming out showing, yes, higher frequency, good recovery. If you program right, you're going to get faster results, better results because you get more stimulus. Wow, there it is. Research shows it. Let's take that and apply that into the physical therapy realm. If you do more frequent sessions week over week, you are going to become better. You are going to get a better adaptation. You're going to get a quicker adaptation, and you're going to see your progress be enhanced. Hey, we're going to take a quick break away of the show and talk about a supplement I've been using every single day, and it is here for optimal drive in performance, optimal drive in overall well-being, and how you feel. Man, when I take this supplement, I feel great. My performance, my workouts, my training feels great. My recovery feels great. And I'll tell you what, I'll be honest, on the libido side, the sex drive, the hormone optimization is amazing. It is the best supplement that I have taken with overall feeling and results. It's science-driven, doctor-backed. It is recommend nutrition. I've had Dr. Beltran on this podcast many times. I've had Dr. Beltran on this podcast to talk about it. They have 2 great supplements. One is for men, Man Plus formula. They have a Female Plus formula. They also have a Clear and Focus for overall brain clarity, brain performance, focus, drive, all that. You can stack them together. combine them. They pack a punch. I cannot say enough about this. I take these supplements every single day, and they have proven to increase overall performance and health. And you can take advantage of that. Go to recommend.com. Use code TFL20 for 20% off of your order and get on the supplement path today. This supplement was going to replace a lot of supplements that are in your cabinet. You're not going to need to have to inject stuff or go to doctors to try to enhance your hormones. They put all clean ingredients in, ingredients that combined work to increase overall performance, hormones, health, everything. That's recommend.com, code TFL20. Who wouldn't want that? And that's what I tell all kids coming through PT, even if they're not with us, when we do some of their strength measures for ACLs or other measures, I do recommend that they are getting in PT more frequently. And if they can't, because of insurance purposes, I understand that. And the insurance companies probably are not going to like what I just said. And if you want to go 3 times a week, but here's the thing, you have those sessions. If the PT pushes back on you saying, well, the insurance gives you X amount of sessions, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to do it in 10 weeks. You could do 5 sessions a week if you wanted to. The sessions are at your play. Now, here's where you'll get some pushback. The PT might be go, well, it's too much. You need more, less time. You need more time in between. Yeah, you could build to it, but a good physical therapist and a good coach won't say that to you, because they'll say, okay, if I see you on a Monday and you can recover and you feel good for Wednesday, I want to see you Wednesday, and I'm going to do a different protocol for you, and I'm going to strengthen different fibers and do some different activities with you. You recover from that, we'll see you Friday, and I'm going to do something different. If you find that a PT, and here, I'm not bashing PTs. There's very, very good ones that I work with out there, but I've also heard and seen athletes come from ones that aren't good because their results aren't showing and they're frustrated. Some PTs might go, once a week to recover and we'll see you next week. You're not doing enough. You can do more. The human body is built for adaptations. It is built for survival. It is built to adapt to any environment you give it, as long as it can recover and get out of the alarm stage and have an adaptation stage. And most people are going to do that. They're going to go home. They're going to relax. They're going to recover. They're going to get proper nutrition in, and they can recover. Especially if this session's only 20, 30 minutes of strength training or resistance training or band training, whatever. That stimulus isn't going to cause a giant central nervous system or metabolic fatigue that the person's going to be super sore. They can do it over and over again. Sometimes you might be able to take the same protocol if you're coming back from injuries, same exercises, because they're low grade, and run them 3 times a week. It can be done. What I would recommend, if someone out there is dealing with injury and you're going to PT, bump up the frequency. Go 3-4 times a week. Man, and we're going to hopefully see this model changes as the younger PTs come in, and they're going to get in and be like, we're changing, because they have the mind of a physical therapist, a trainer, a strength coach, and they're seeing and understanding how adaptations really lie through muscle, tendon, and ligament function, and the system's going to build. Here's the other thing I've learned through that, is most people want to get back to pain-free living as soon as possible. And it's our job as coaches, as trainers, as PTs, clinicians, to provide that service. Session 1, when someone comes in, if they're in pain for me, we're going to go through the full PRI eval. We're going to see where they're limited, see how we can help their pain. My number one goal is to get their body to sense a different position, a different sense of change or tension somewhere to take them out of their pain. That's number one. That is my number one goal. The second thing is I'm going to get them upright and understand how to move upright really, really quick, tying in goal number 1 without pain. And it takes some time. That's why we have that hour session to build in the frequency. Now, we might take 20, 30 minutes doing side lying or supine exercises, then get to standing and we're coaching through. Because at the end of that session, no matter what, that person is going to get up and they are going to walk out of the gym. They're going to walk off the table. They're going to walk towards a car. They're going to walk towards a train, and they're going to get in it. We have to respect the ability to get someone upright as soon as possible. This goes back and ties in with the model of that PT is oftentimes, even when I went to PT, we're going to go, oh, well, they're very base level exercises, seated, side lying, all that. Okay, what about when that person goes to stand? What about when that person goes to the bathroom or takes a shower? Because this is something that all humans are going to do and all humans need to do, and they don't sit in a vacuum. And sometimes the view from PT and the side of rehab comes in as, oh, we can only do supine and side lying exercises because of your limitations. Okay, but that's not a reality. But in school, that's kind of the realm that they're taught, because they're taught parts to a whole. Then you got to put it back together. An athlete goes back, they are going to lie in bed. They got to get up. They got to go upstairs, downstairs. They got to get food. They have to do all this stuff and live a daily life. How do we bring them pain-free as soon as possible? That's the goal. We have to get them upright, and we have to also understand their needs as a human. If an athlete comes in to me, they want to be strong and they want to get fast, I need to train that. I need to give them what they want, and I'm not going to give them something they don't want. And sometimes in the realm of physical therapy, it's about treating the person, but also you have to understand their goals. You meet them where their goals are at. You're treating them in regards to what their goals are, but you're pushing that needle. And if you do enough frequency, you can get someone pain-free quicker. You're also going to get some buy-in. And this side goes to the PTs out there too, potentially listening. Now, if you get someone to buy in and trust you early on, session 1, session 2, they're going to do whatever you tell them. You get them understanding, hey, we're going to be strong. We're going to be pain-free. We're going to get you back. Here are the exercises we're going to do. And you kind of give them a good session. You make them work for it in the realms of not getting them re-injured. They're in their head. That person's going to go, yeah, I'm behind this. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to do to get back into being pain-free or health. You're going to get more buy-in when they go home and do their at-home exercises. They're going to really hit them hard and go, okay, I need to do this because I saw what the PT did. I got results. I feel better, and I'm starting to push that needle to my goal. I'm going to do these exercises. Now we have a winning buy-in program, and that is something that they don't teach you in PT school, and they don't teach you in a exercise science degree or strength and conditioning, is understanding the human component of it, of getting someone to buy in to their goals and their aspirations into a program and into a method that works. Now you have these people going home, doing these exercises going, I see the benefit of them. Because like I said earlier, when I was sent home with some PT exercises when I was younger, I said, oh, these are dumb. This is low grade exercise. I don't care. I could do something that's better. And your simple at-home exercise might look like, we're going to do glute bridges, we're going to do some stretching, and we're going to do some clamshells. 3 exercises that in my eyes can be really good, but also could be really dumb. Because if you just say, hey, we're going to do a glute bridge, and that person's doing a glute bridge and they don't feel anything, and you're not challenging their brain to work or turn new muscles on, that person's not going to care, and that brain's not going to get anything. Same thing with a clamshell. But if you make those exercises worthwhile to the person, man, people will go home and they're going to be like, I'm going to do this clamshell or side lying right glute max exercise, and they are going to smash it and be like, I get so much out of it. And that's what gets me excited, is when someone goes home and they're like, hey, I got so much out of this banded exercises than I've ever before, and this is my favorite exercise. It makes me happy, because now that person understands where I'm going to go to and where we're going to take them from a realm of we're going to get them stronger. We're going to do something that threatens their brain, but they're going to get something out of it. Many times talking to people that come in for second opinions, that they've been to PT, whether injured runners or ACL, they don't have that. And they just said, well, yeah, I've done 30 of these exercises and it's kind of dumb and I don't feel anything. To me, that's a red flag that they weren't coached enough. Over the years, I just learned as coaches, we have to be adamant and on point teaching these athletes. We have to get them into realms of buy-in, understanding that, yeah, they're injured, but you're not. We can get you back really quick. And that's just a state of where you're at, because no human wants to be injured forever. Let's get you stronger. Let's build you back to where you want to be and better. And you can be full functioning without pain. That's huge for a human brain. And if someone's listening that they've been going through this is where we're going to take you. We're going to take you to a place where you can do all the lifts. You can squat, lunge, rear foot elevated, jump, smash things, throw med balls, run hard, sprint, do all that stuff pain-free. You can do it. You're just getting stronger through the body as we sense and connect the body and the brain together for optimal function. And that's one of the coolest things that I learn about and continue to read about, is making that connection and building through. That one big thing, if someone is struggling in the realm of, hey, I've gone to PT, it's been a while, it's dragging out, increase the frequency, challenge your PT to give you higher grade level exercise activities, to increase the intensity, because that is the other thing we need to talk about, is you're going to PT. Things need to be tracked and progressively overloaded. And this goes for coaches, trainers, strength coaches and trainers as well. You can't go in to a program with random exercises and workouts. I'm sorry, it does not work. Well, I take that back. It will work to a certain degree. Then you will become limited. Let's go back to the math. Example. If Monday I gave you addition, and Wednesday I gave you multiplication, and Thursday I gave you long division, awesome. I like it. We're going to build. But then the next Monday, I give you fractions, and Wednesday I give you geometry, and Thursday I give you algebra. And then the next week I do something different. How are you going to learn it? You're getting doses of something, but are you actually going to learn it and retain it? That's not how we did it in school. In school, you built lessons around, you got to learn it and study. We did blocks. Block learning of addition. Good, you got all the addition. We got to take you through as much advanced addition as possible. Then we can learn subtraction. Then we can learn multiplication. Or you might have learned it, each day was different, but you repeated it. The same goes for strengthening the body back. On Monday, if you're doing leg extensions for 30 pounds for 40 total reps, I love it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and next Monday, you better be doing the same exercise over and over. Sometimes I've found, and I see PTs do different exercises every time someone comes in. How are we tracking if someone's getting stronger? If you're just doing random exercises and just changing it up all the time. Now, you can do multiple exercises in a session, but you need to keep PT periodized. You need to progress someone through and make sure we're getting stronger. Same thing with strength coaches and trainers. I've seen a lot of strength coaches and trainers go through, hey, we're going to do something different today. And it's going to be different day one than day one of the following week. And we're going to change the exercise completely and we're going to go away from it. It doesn't work like that. There can be some variation of the small things, but the big things need to stay. And it can't just be completely separate. And that's how you make progress towards goals. I've done programs where in the past where I've changed things up too quick. Okay, Monday we're going to squat. Tuesday we're going to deadlift. Wednesday we're going to clean. Thursday we're going to squat again. And Friday we're going to bench. And then I would change it up the next week. Oh, I'm going to switch it up. We're going to double deadlift, and I'm going to take away the squat, and we're going to take away what I found over time was if I took some lifts away, whatever I took away, I would become less efficient at. My maxes would drop down, and I didn't like that. I don't like my numbers going down. Or if you take something out for long enough, you become deconditioned because you're not using that stimulus. Or if you change something completely up and the person's goal is to put on muscle mass and lean body fat, and you've changed things up so much that the body is not doing it, and people will tell you, oh, we need to do muscle confusion. Okay, but what's the overall goal? If you're trying to confuse the muscles, like, they're not going to get confused. You've just changed the pattern, which, okay, I'm all for changing patterns. Like I said, some of the small stuff, if you want to do supinated bicep curl, palms up versus a hammer curl, which is a change of pattern, is fine. But to me, it's not really like, oh, you're confusing the brain, the body. No, you're just changing a position and changing a different phase of how the body is going to move, which is great, which is fine. But you need to keep stimuluses over and over again for learned or to create an adaptation, to stress the cells. One big thing you learn, can't just modify or change workouts every single day. Here's where here's where the issue with these classes come up, or Barry, or I want to mention, but like group classes or these cycling things where you're going and you're getting a hard workout. No doubt you're getting a hard workout, but it's too random. If you did a hard workout Monday and go into a different class and it's not as hard or not as heavy weight, are you actually pushing the needle? Or let's say you do the same class every week, and one week you use 15 pounds, then you use 20 pounds, then you go back to 15, and then you're like one day like, maybe I'm not feeling it. Maybe I'll use 12 and a halves. Well, now you're just dropping the weight. You're going to lose out on the adaptation because the body's saying, hey, well, last week you did 20. We should still be trying to progressive overload, but we're not. And we're starting to detrain because there's not enough stimulus to drive an adaptation. It all comes down to, at the cellular level, how to push the cell to be threatened to create a change. And if we're not doing that and we're not really moving towards adaptation, we're not going to get overall better off fitness. We're not going to hit our goals. We're not going to hit weight loss, etc. That is another big thing I've learned throughout the years. As we wrap up this episode today of things I've learned throughout the years in the realm of talking about rehabbing from injury, that is the biggest one to understand here in this episode. Is if you are injured or been injured in the past or know someone who's injured, here's how we can enhance your recovery and get you better, more frequent, 3-4 times a week in PT. Make sure you got a good PT that's pushing the needle and making you a better person through doing your homework, doing your activities, getting you stronger while you're in session, and talking about how to progress. That's key. That is overall key. That wraps us up today for the Think Fitness Life podcast.
Matt Gluckman and Eric Menchie here from Think Fitness Life. Our entire careers have been dedicated to fitness, particularly how the mind helps the body. We've been around gyms and nutrition strategies for 25 plus years collectively, and nothing harms or helps better than your own mind, untrained or trained. Pushing beyond your limits, overcoming whatever's thrown your way, and making the decision to show up day in and day out as a lifestyle takes more soul than sand. And what I mean by that is when you can get your mindset and heart leading you consistently in the direction of your goals and dreams, well, it's just a matter of time before you have the performance, physique, or quality of life you're yearning for. See, your thoughts will stem from your beliefs, which will then lead you to action, which develop into your behavior and ultimately lead you to results. It's really that simple. Our process takes time and it takes open communication. It's amazing what pops up along the fitness journey to betterment, and we can be there every step of the way. To learn more or apply for coaching, visit www.thinkfitnesslife.com. Start recreating your life today.